Summarizing is of great importance for students to prosper in their careers as it improves their vocabulary and grammatical skills.
And if you cannot summarize an issue on one page, you don't understand the issue well enough. And that's our quotation for today. Welcome to our session for today.
Yeah, so hello there, it's Tuesday. It's exactly 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, meaning it's time for English for academic and professional purposes.
I am Tutor Alvin,
And I am tutor Aaron
and we are your AF buddies.
for Itulay online tutorial session at this hour.
Ayan, so hello, Tutor Aaron. I missed you for a week, I think. And also our
Oy, I
AF
miss you
phenomenal
too, tutor
students.
Alvin. If I can
Ayan.
only go there, no, dyan sa place mo, well, we'll do this live, no? Dalawa tayo
Yeah,
magkasama. I
yeah. A
think it
live
will be,
collaboration. Yeah.
yes, happier.
Yeah. Happier. Yeah. So why don't we greet first our AF phenomenal students from their respective schools, starting first with our students from Santa Maria
Yes,
National
hello.
High School. So hello
Uy.
there to our students.
Hello, hello, and hello also to Shelito Zamora Senior High School in Caloocan, STO, Caloocan, and hello to all our students, especially from, oh, I can see here students from Santa Maria National High School, my school, Shelito Zamora Senior High School, and hello to all the schools who are here with us right now, even the junior high schools. Hello, I think there are people or students from junior high school who are also watching us
Yes,
right
that's correct. And we have
now.
also here now students from as SMNHS Maine. So
Oh,
she
wow.
is Learni Talana Miguel. Learni, please, what is the meaning of SMNHS? Because it's just like our school, Santa Maria National High School. How about yours? What's the meaning of SMNHS? Okay, so
Yes, complete it.
yeah, complete. Because probably your school will be included to the top, to the most, supportive and participative school.
Yes, we are looking
One of
for
those
that.
schools next quarter.
Yes, that's true. And why don't you share our live post for today so that our students from the different parts of the Philippines can also learn from your AF buddies and also be AF amazing and AF phenomenal students. And
Okay.
again, welcome to our AF session this Tuesday.
Yeah, this Tuesday. Anyway, may pahabol sila Arnie. San Mariano
Uy!
National High School, Maine daw. Yeah, I know this school from Isabela. Am I right?
Uy!
Okay, from
Layo nun,
Isabela.
ha?
Yeah, so ang layo na ng reach ng ating Itulay. So,
Wow. And why
last
don't
time
you
to the
also
Aaron.
share?
Okay.
And why don't you also mention your classmates if ever you have classmates who are also taking up A-up to mention them in our comment section, right, Tutor Alvin?
Yes, that's better. That you will be learning all together about the different concepts and principles of English for academic and professional purposes.
Correct. And last time, Tutor Alvin, you were saying?
Okay, so last time we talked about the types of text structures, and Tutor Aaron, I know they really get familiar of our types of text structures we talked about. What are the types of text structures? Will you please comment down below the types of text structures we talked about last
Yes, if you
time?
can still remember, definitely. What are those? They're actually very basic, sir. Tutor Alvin, right?
Yeah, actually, I can still remember one there. The first one is the comparison and contrast.
Yes, comparison and contrast. You also have our descriptive aspect of the structure. What
Yeah,
else?
and according to Anthony John, we have definition.
Yes, you also have, if you have the descriptive, we have the narrative.
Yeah, or the narration, and also identifying the cause and effect.
Yes, if you have the cause and effect, you also have the problem and the solution.
Of course. And if we're going to talk about the time, the sequence, or the process involved in a particular thing, we will be using the sequential, the chronological, or what do we call the procedural structure. And those are the
Yes.
types of text structure.
That's correct. And thank you to those who answered us on our comment section. It's just nice to see that you learned from our
Yeah.
session
And
last time.
until
Although I
now,
was not.
okay, that's good thing, right? Until
Yeah.
now, they still, okay, know, okay, they're still familiar of this text structures.
Correct. And although I was not here last time, I know Tutor Alvin taught you so much and you really enjoyed the session.
And we'll be awarding or recognizing now the AF Phenomenal student last week or the quarter three, week two. And
Yes.
Tutor Aaron, who is he?
Yes, our quarter three, week two area phenomenal student is none other than drum roll. Carl Jose P. Yabut from Santa Maria National High School, SDO, Pampanga. Why don't we give Carl a heart react for being our A
Yeah.
phenomenal student for last week?
Yeah. So congratulations, Carl. And okay, you'll be we'll still be having a lot of sessions, right? Next session. So
Yes.
you'll be also one of the most AF phenomenal students.
And
Okay,
they can
next
get this if
session.
they join in our game, di ba? Ang ating
Yeah.
pinaka-aabangan, Aya Phenomenal game later. So, why don't we start, sir?
Yeah. So let's just have a run through of what we had already from the previous weeks. Last from the first week with Tutor Aaron, we talked
Yes.
about the academic language used from various disciplines. And then,
We had our tech types of text structure.
and for this week, week three, we'll be having the techniques in summarizing variety of academic text.
Yes, that
As
is
in
so
today,
exciting.
right? As in
Yes.
today, we'll talk about the summarizing techniques. So let
Correct.
us begin.
Are you ready, our dear students? Why don't you give us heart react if you are ready? Pero
Yeah, and
I think,
comment down
sir,
below. I am ready, right? Ready.
yes, and
Hashtag ready.
ready. And Tutor Alvin, one requirement is to definitely share our live for today because that's one sign that you are ready.
Yeah, that's correct. You have to share it so that everyone would also learn about our lesson for this hour or for this
Correct.
week. So okay, we have students from what is that? Alibad Alibadabad National High School. Okay?
Wow, hello.
And shout
And
out din
hello
natin ang
also.
kanilang teacher, no? Si Ma'am, sabi dit na minention niya, si Ma'am Kat Gabehan. Hello po, ma'am. Thank you for
Boy.
supporting or utilizing e-Tulay in delivering lessons
Correct. I
among
would
our
also like
students.
to acknowledge my student. My student, Arvin Roy Cortez. Hello from Shalito Zamora Senior High School. And I think Tutor Alvin, they are ready now because they have already shared, they have already reacted to our game. Sir Alvin, it's important that they shared kasi in our game later, we will be calling those students will have the chance to be called if they have the shared icon on top of their
Yeah,
names.
okay, you're a sharer. That's correct.
Yes.
So,
Let's do
okay,
this.
buckle up and let's get the ball rolling. So, we'll be having an initial activity. And this
Yes, this is
and
actually
before
like a game.
okay, before having that activity, why don't we share them first? Our objective or our most essential learning competency of the week. Tutor Aaron?
Yes, let's do this. Our target for today is to use various techniques in summarizing a variety of academic texts. So I know that our students who are taking A-UP are now ready with their modules because we'll be guiding you and helping you and enriching you in understanding this topic.
All right, so buckle up and let's get the ball rolling. So, what's new?
Yes.
So, for our first activity, give one word or maybe a phrase, it could also be, to name each picture. Okay, on the next slide. Then make
Yes.
a story out of them. So, it's just like
Okay.
making story out of pictures, right?
Yes.
So, let's begin with the first one. Hmm.
Okay. What do you think is this? How do you call this? I think our students from what strand is that?
From
Our
TVL, no?
TVL will definitely connect to this. What do you call this process? One word.
Yeah.
Go.
Particularly those taking the bread and pastry production subject.
Yes.
So what do we call this process? What's
What
happening?
is this process, our dear friends, our dear
Okay,
students?
Alan got it. So it is, and Jeanette, it is mixing.
Oy. Hello,
Correct?
thank you, congratulations. That's mixing. Next is,
Oh,
how about this one, Tutor Alvin?
yeah. Every time I see that utensil, I remember I'm getting hungry because I I remember because I use that when I drain the pancit canton.
Oy.
Yeah, I love. Okay.
Although we're not sponsored here, but we
Yeah,
all love.
oo.
Who loves pancit canton? No? Raise your hand. Especially at midnight, no? When
Yeah,
my dad would actually cook pancit canton with egg in the middle of
yeah.
the night, and I would be like, wow. Although I'm so sleepy, I would really go to the table and eat it. So how about this one? I think they have already their answers, Tutor Alvin, and they have so many answers. Thank you very much to our active students. Keep sharing our live so that we can call you. Another sharer, Mark Gabriel Musni answered, sifting.
Yeah, sifting.
Yes. Princess said sifting. That's correct. Sifting.
Okay,
That's a process
sifting.
of,
Ayan,
yes.
pati si Ma'am Nova, favorite po namin yung Brand X. Tama, Brand X na pansit canton. We mentioned no brand name. Brand X.
Brand X.
All right.
Yes,
So,
so we continue to the next. So I think while we are showing our pictures, you want you all to think in your mind some words or description with regard our processes, because after this, tutor Alvin, they have to make a brief description of our
yeah,
pictures.
you'll be connecting, okay, the
Yes.
pictures and tell a story out of those.
How about this one? What do you think is this process? Oh, let's see your answers. Go, our A of phenomenal students.
Yeah, I see some answers here about, yeah, they say needing. Yeah, it's correct. But what we need, we are needing what? Okay? Yeah, those are correct. We are needing, to be exact, we are needing what?
Yeah, why
Okay.
don't we specify it, di ba? So that everyone can know it too. Because this is a process that everyone would always see and look at videos or tutorials, but they don't know how to call it. So what do you think, our dear AF phenomenal students? What do you call
Yeah.
this process?
I think they got it already. We need dough. Okay, kneading dough, or should we say doughing? Okay, or
Oh,
making
yes.
dough. All right.
So
So
we
you're
found
correct.
this though. Actually, we asked each other a short while ago. Probably
Yeah.
others are unfamiliar, diba? But as we search based on Oxford Dictionary, doughing is already acceptable, and it's a process of mixing all the ingredients. Actually, to be
To
exact,
make
doughing
dough.
in. Yes. So
To make
kneading.
dough, and after doughing or making the dough, that's the time to knead. Okay, to knead
Yes.
the dough, or in Tagalog, ito yung pagmamasa, tama? Okay, ng tinapay. Okay,
That
so
is
next is,
correct.
ayan na tayo. So next step,
What's the last one? What do you call? This is the easiest one. And I think this is also
yeah.
the most interesting part,
And the
aside
most
from eating the
exciting
bread.
part, my the most favorite, the most
The most
favorite part,
favorite part is eating the bread. The most
yeah,
exciting and interesting is cooking the bread.
yeah.
Ay,
Or what do we
sorry.
call? Okay, they got it. It's cooking or baking. Cooking the bread or baking it.
Yes. Thank you
Baking
very
it.
much. Clap. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for answering our four pictures
But
correctly.
then
Now,
the challenge, Tutor Aaron,
yes.
doesn't
You,
end
yes.
there. They have
Let's level
to,
up. Definitely. You have to, as part of our game, to make a brief story or a description, a short description out of the pictures that we have identified. So let's have the pictures once again, Tutor Alvin. So on the
Yeah.
comment section, our AF Phenomenal students, why don't you give us a short description of the processes that we have here? Why don't you explain the process that we identified here? So we will be waiting for your answers. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Actually,
Let's
Tutor
challenge them.
Aaron, um, it is the process of making bread, right? Of baking.
Yes. But what about it? Diba? Why don't you
Yeah.
try and challenge yourselves to a little or further explain it in a brief manner? You know, Tutor Alvin, we have 61,000 viewers now.
Yeah, so I'm very happy for the 61,000 viewers we have right now. I hope you'll reach or we'll be having a million, all right,
100,000?
or 100,000.
That's not impossible, especially if our students shared our live post. So are we waiting for more answers? Yeah, I saw here, Tutor Alvin, I think we're ready. No, we're ready to look at the answers of our students. Somebody answered here that, oh, he actually said step by step. It's actually the step by step doing of the bread. Number one is to mix all the
Mix,
ingredients. Number two is to sieve some
sieve.
important ingredients, especially the smaller ingredients. Third is to knead or to dough the
Okay.
all the ingredients that we have considering or with our yeast. And the
Yeah.
fourth is cooking
Okay.
the
Or
dough that,
baking it.
yes, or baking the bread or the dough that you got from, yes. So you're correct. Thank you very much for answering, and I
Yeah, and
forgot
actually,
the most favorite part.
yeah, Alan Mark commented here that to bake a bread, first sift the flour, then mix with different ingredients, knead and bake. Dito, sabi ni
Okay.
Princess Nicole Bonifacio, to make a bread, we have to mix the ingredients, sift the flour, and then add water to prepare for doughing. And finally, bake it. Right.
Oh yeah. Clap your hands for yourselves, our dear AF Phenomenal students. So all our 60,000 viewers, you are all considered AF Phenomenal students. Yes, tap your no, your shoulder for doing great. And now,
Yeah.
Tutor Alvin, since in our game a short while ago, we did some sifting, we did some what do you call that, mixing, and we did some segregating of important ingredients in
Yes.
academic text. There's also one important thing that we have to remember, which we said in the first part. If you don't know how to do this, it's a sign that you did not understand what
Understand.
you
That's
read,
correct.
yes, or what you have watched. And what do you think is this? Our students, it's on the screen already. It starts with letter S.
Okay, our topic for today is about letter S, and this is about
So easy.
so easy. Okay,
The
give it to
answer
us now.
is okay.
It
It's letter
is
S.
summarizing. That's correct.
Good. Thank
Okay,
you,
it's
Alan Mark de
summarizing.
Jesus. So let's now talk about our topic for today, which is techniques in summarizing academic text. So it's important that our dear students also know different techniques, because you know, where do you summarizing aside from answering your test papers? You also do this in your research, right? Sometimes,
Yes,
or you also do this in your paperworks, position paper, and what else? Where do you use your summary? Where do you need your summary? Where do you summarizing in your other subjects? Yeah.
and summarizing, Tutor Aaron, as one of the study skills. This skill, the summarizing skill, is very important not only in English, because definitely your Filipino
Yes.
teacher, your araling panlipunan teacher, your or
Correct.
any teacher of any learning area ask you to do a summary of this one. Example, I remember my our junior high school students in Filipino, they are reading the novels of the great Jose Rizal.
Wow. Yes.
Okay,
What's the
um, the,
title of that? I forgot the
we
title.
have the
I can
Noli
only remember.
Metangere and El
And
Filibusterismo,
yes,
and they are
our
asked by
favorite.
their teacher to summarize each chapter. Each
Uy.
chapter. And that's a great thing that you should know what is the correct way of summarizing. What is the correct way of summarizing? Because alam mo ba, Tutor Aaron, ang technique ng mga bata natin ngayon, I'm not saying it's lahat, okay? But sometimes if the students can't or having a hard time summarizing a particular passage, they will just copy paste. Okay, get some
Yes.
parts of the original.
And that's bad because in our
Yeah,
first topic in the first week, we call that as letter P. What's that letter P that we are avoiding?
yeah.
What's
What's
that
that?
letter P? Our AF phenomenal students. It's plagiarism. It's not copy. And when we're doing our researches, our projects, we should avoid copy pasting, especially if we are not going to what do you call that? Give our proper citation or sources. Correct, Rafael. Plagiarism. You should avoid that. And one way to do that is to know also summarizing. And what do we need to know about summarizing? Let's start, Tutor Alvin.
Okay, first, let us define first summarizing. Tutor Aaron?
Summarizing is how we take larger selections of text and reduce them to their bare essential. So from big ones to the shorter ones. In short, the gist, the key ideas, the main point that are worth noting and remembering. So it's clear in our definition, Tutor Alvin, the meaning of summarizing. And our dear students, our AF Phenomenal students, would definitely be connected to this because they know the gist, they know the key ideas, they do this already. It's just that we're reminding them of what summarizing is.
Okay, in summarizing, it's important to take note that we are taking the larger selection of text
Yes.
to a reduced form in a compact, all right, or in a shorter version or the shorter version of the original text. That's the main purpose of summarizing. We are making the longer we are making the long text shorter, but then
Yes.
it's not only we're cutting it short. It's not just what do we call it? Making it short, but the key points, the ideas, right, and the main
Should be there.
points, okay, should remain. Should remain. That is
Yes.
summarizing.
And without compromising the important parts of the bigger text. And
Yeah.
here we should also understand definitely the different rules in summarizing. So if we are not allowing plagiarism, we should also understand and learn what are the rules that we need to do in summarizing. Go, Tutor Alvin.
Yeah. The first one is erase things that don't matter. Okay? How is that? Please delete trivial material that is unnecessary to understanding. Let's admit it or not. Sometimes in a longer version or the original longer version of the text, there are some words there that seems to be words there that seem to be unnecessary, okay, towards the
Correct.
main point of the paragraph. So in making a summary, because you're cutting it short, so you cannot add or you cannot retain it. That's why you need to delete, to erase words which are not essential or necessary for you to come up with the original meaning, okay, of the text. So erase things that don't matter.
Yes. So remove. Alisin ang mga bagay na hindi naman na kailangan at hindi na importante. Oh,
Kaya nga.
kapag hindi ka na pinapasaya at dagdag lang
I
sa
love
yung
that hugot.
problema at not really that important, remove. Okay? And because of that, let's go to our next rule. Our next rule would say erase things that repeat. Okay?
Mm,
That repeat. So avoid redundancy. Delete redundant material. In note taking, time and space is precious. If a word or a phrase says basically the same thing you have already written down, then don't write it again. Ayan. So kapag meron ka ng nakita that is pasok in your ideal perspective, then siya na yun. Stick to that. Diba?
yeah, yun na yun. Wag na maghahanap, no? Wag na nga maghahanap ng kapareho pa. Right? So stick to
Correct.
that one. All
And
right?
if it's
So
just a repetition of ideas, then you have to really remove it. So you have to be critical as students if this idea is already repeated to avoid your to save your time, especially if it's just the same with the first thought, then remove it. Okay? I-delete mo na yan so that you can already come up with the brief and precise word.
Yeah. So in other words, if you have already the one, don't look for another one, right? So
Correct?
yeah. So delete redundant material. Doon tayo doon. Erase things that repeat. So moving on to the
Yes.
next rule. In summarizing, it is trade general terms for specific names. One of the reasons why we are summarizing is that for for us to obtain ease in understanding text, right? For us to easily understand the text without reading the longer version of the text. That's why, to lead us to an effective understanding of the text, let's make general things into specific. Let us specify it, right? Let us make let us make unclear things clear. Okay, direct to the point, concise. Okay, it is concrete. So example, substitute superordinate terms for list. Like for example, flowers. What kind of flowers is specified? You may mention daisies, tulips, or even roses. Focus on the big picture because long technical lists are very hard to remember. That's why tandaan ito. Less is more. Okay? Less is more in summarizing. Less is more. The shorter, the better. Remember that.
That's correct. And look for the labels, okay? Check for labels, specific labels. Because if those terms are just general labels, okay, and it's not specified in the first place, say, why will you push through that? Diba? Kung walang label at kung yung label ay malabo at masyadong general, then why would you stick to that? And why would you hold on to those promises if they don't have labels? So unlike with our idea here, remove those general terms. Focus on specific terms. Okay?
Okay.
And for our next, letter D, use your own words to write the summary. Write the summary using your own words, but make sure to retain the main point.
Mm,
So you are
yeah,
allowed to paraphrase, to use your own words to explain. Now, this is actually the usual problem when students are being asked to summarize or make a book report of a book. Okay, they would, in the summary part, I would just copy paste from Wikipedia, which is a no-no, copy paste from rotten.tomato.com, if I'm not mistaken, getting
Rotten
the
Tomatoes.
summary. Yes, Rotten Tomatoes. So getting summary from it to save their time and their effort without knowing that if they do that, they actually skipped one skill, which is summarizing. Because as we said, if you know how to summarize or to do the summary of that book or of one idea, then it means that you learned and you mastered that thing. Okay?
That's
So
correct.
use your own word as much as possible. Train yourself, challenge yourselves, use your own words in creating original summary.
Okay, creating your using your own words, but remember the most important purpose of summary, creating a shorter version of the original, but maintaining or retaining the main points or the meaning of the original text. Sabi dito ni
Yeah.
Mark Gabriel,
Mark
we
Gabriel.
can change and remove some words, but the main points or the essence of the text should remain tumpak. Mark, it is correct.
Correct. So, I think, do we have more? Yeah, so
No, okay.
those are the rules that we have to remember in summarizing. So before we proceed to the next parts of summarizing, remember those four rules because they will guide you in doing your summary. And now we have come to the highlight of this topic, and that is
Okay, the different summarizing techniques. Now, in summarizing, we have a lot of techniques depending particularly what kind of text you are summarizing or depending on the function or yeah, the functionality of the text that you are summarizing. So there are a lot of techniques. Just choose which is more convenient to you and which do you think will help you better to summarize or um dito, to summarize or cut the longer text into a shorter one. So
That
let's
is
begin.
true.
First, shooter Aaron, it is what do we call?
Yes, we have one technique, our dear students, is somebody wanted but so. It's entitled Somebody Wanted But So. It is a strategy that helps students generalize, recognize cause and effect, relationships, and find main idea. So, how do we do this? So, next, let's see with our explanation. So as you can see, we have here a graph explaining and presenting somebody wanted but so. So look at the example. Let's have it somebody. With somebody, you have to be able to answer who is the text about, which we are referring to the indefinite pronoun somebody. So who is that specifically? Who is the person in the story? So our example is Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh,
Then for the wanted, okay, so somebody wanted. What's the wanted? It's what did the main character want? Okay, so what did the main character want? So we should answer the wanted. So she wanted to take cookies to her sick grandmother. Okay,
oh,
so
so
you already
probably
have.
shooter Aaron, it is about the tale of the Little Red Riding Hood, right?
Yeah, so we're talking about that. And Wanted also talks about the aim or the purpose of the character. Then we go to but. What is but?
Okay.
The question that you need to answer is what was the problem encountered? So while knowing the wanted, you should also know the problem because in all stories we have what we call the conflict or
It's a
the problem.
conflict,
So
yeah.
what is that? So in the Little Red Riding Hood, it says there that she encountered a wolf pretending to be her grandmother. So see how practical our storytelling is, di ba? With our somebody wanted but so then. And for our so, we have how was the problem solved? So if you have the problem with the but, so how did the character solve it? So the solution is she ran away crying for help. Then we have the then. For our then, it tells the story how it tells how the story ended. So the story of Little Red Riding Hood ended with the woodsman heard her and saved her from the wolf. So if you will look at the practical way of doing the somebody wanted but so them, it can actually help you summarize. Definitely as a technique, it's a summary. Then because of that, no, I know that not everyone knows the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Because of our example, now you got familiar to it. And that's how effective somebody wanted but so then. So what do we do next after doing the summary or this graph? Let's see. Okay, after answering the questions, you have to combine the answers to form a summary. So we do not end with the graphic organizer, but we have to complete it. So definitely, summary or summarizing is still a form of essay or in paragraph form. So how do we do it?
Okay, for this one, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So
Go.
we'll be combining, okay, after identifying the somebody wanted, but, so, and then we'll be combining the things or the answers for the questions on each part. And let's see the result. Let's read it all together. Little Red Riding Hood wanted to take cookies to her sick grandmother, but she encountered a wolf. That's the but. He got to her grandmother's house first and pretended to be the old woman. He was going to eat Little Red Riding Hood, but she realized what he was doing and ran away crying for help. A woodsman heard the girl's cries and saved her from the wolf.
Okay.
That
See?
is the summary, okay, of the Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes. So see how effective is that and practical. How practical somebody wanted but so the end part of the Little Red Riding Hood. So if anybody here has read the Little Red Riding Hood, then you can actually confirm if this is true. And to those who haven't read it yet, you're given actually an idea or perspective of how the story Little Red Riding Hood happened. So that's one technique.
All right. So I think the somebody wanted but so then method is better, or it is suited for narratives, okay, for stories. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you are summarizing stories, okay, or tales, it is advisable to use the somebody wanted but so then technique.
Okay, correct.
Okay, that's just one. Let's move on to the next one. We call this the SAAC method or the SAAC method. This method is particularly helpful in summarizing any kind of text. So any kind of text. So what do we mean by SAAC? SAAC means state, assign, action, and complete. So each word in the acronym refers to a specific element that should be included in the summary. Let's take a look at this one. Okay. First is state. For the state, you'll be stating the name of the article, the book, or the story. Example, you'll be summarizing the story or the text, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. So under the state, you mention it. State the name of the article, book, or story. How about on the assign, Tutor Aaron?
Yes, for the assign, it's Aesop, okay, a Greek storyteller. So assign is the name of the author. So you have to take note. So in the Saak, you have to know the name of the author. Okay, if it's, I think this is like giving a description of the text itself.
Okay. Next, for the another A, action. What the author is doing or what is the purpose of the author in presenting that text. So probably in the Boy Who Cried Wolf, written by Aesop, he just is just telling us, okay, telling us something. Okay? And the C,
Is to complete the sentence or summary with keywords and important details. So, what happens when a shepherd boy repeatedly lies to the villagers about seeing a wolf? So, you have to complete the sentence or summary with keywords that are important and should be considered part of the story. So, let's see. So, that's what you call the Saak process. So, that's the graph. So, let's see if how
okay.
will it look like if we formed it.
If we use the SAAC, use no your four responses, so we can form this summary. Okay? The Boy Who Cried Wolf by Aesop, a Greek storyteller, tells what happens when a shepherd boy repeatedly lies to the villagers about seeing a wolf. After a while, they ignore his false cries. Then, when a wolf really does attack, they don't come to help him. Okay, that's the summary
It's
using the
just
SAAC method.
yes. Imagine Saak method. Imagine using Saak method when a classmate of yours asks you about the summary of a movie. Okay, a famous movie. No? Like for example, the famous one, the All of Us Are Dead. So if they ask you, then you use and you know the Saak method, then it's easier for you to tell the story. So definitely you have to look for the title, then the author, then tell what's the purpose. Does it tell? Does it inform? Does it persuade? Does it narrate? Then tell what happened. Then add more or little details to it. So that's what you call SAC method.
The next tutor, Aaron?
Yes, the third one is 5Ws 1H. So what do you mean by 5Ws 1H? This is actually a technique that relies on six crucial questions. The who, what, when, where, why, and how. These questions make it easy to identify the main character, the important details, and the main idea. Like let us see the examples. So for the example, you have to take note who is the story about. So our story, the tortoise is the main character. So what did they do? He raised a quick, boastful hare and won. Okay, so what did they do? Next, when did the action take place? So the setting. When isn't specified in this story, so it's not important in this case. So sometimes the when or the place is not specified, so it's okay. So where did the story happen? To an old country road. And why did the main character do what he or she did? Because the tortoise was tired of hearing the hare boast about his speed. So there's a boasting happening. And so how did the main character do what he or she did? So it's like the how here is how did the person or the character solve the conflict? The tortoise kept up his slow but steady pace. And that's what we call the 5 W's and 1 1H.
Yeah, so basically, Tutor Aaron, in the five W's and one H, we will just be identifying the what's, the what, the where, the when, okay, of the story, the how and why.
Correct.
Okay, moving on to the next technique, it is the first, then finally. First, then finally. This technique helps students summarize events in chronological order. So, example, first, what happened first? So please include the main character and main event or action. So we are referring here to the um to the introduction, to the exposition of the plot. And then what key details took place during the event or action. So this probably the climax, okay? The climax, or from the rising action to the climax and down to the falling action. And finally, what were the results of the event or action? So this is probably the resolution, the ending of the story. So for this technique, we'll just be identifying first and finally. First, then finally. What happened first? What happened in the middle part? And how does it end? Okay? How does it end?
Yes. So now, okay, so that's the fourth one. So for example, Tutor
Okay,
Alvin,
this
you have your
example.
example
Okay.
there.
So
So we
first,
have, yes, go.
yeah. First, it's about the Goldilocks. It's about Goldilocks and the three bears. First, Goldilocks entered the bears' home while they were gone. Then she ate their food, sat in their chairs, and slept in their beds. Finally, she woke up to find the bears watching her. So she jumped up and ran away.
So as practical as that, you get to learn the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now let's see our last technique for or in summarizing. So the last one is give me the gist. So this type of technique or that technique is like giving a friend the gist of a story. In other words, they want a summary, not a retelling of every detail. You just have to get the gist or the important part of the story as short as that. So next, let's see. Okay,
Oh,
so I think those are our five techniques. So the last one is actually so easy. We all know we all know how to do the gist. It's just a short idea about the story. And for today, to remind us, Tutor Alvin,
so we talked about the different techniques in summarizing academic texts. So again, what are the five mentioned techniques in summarizing academic texts? Please comment down below. The first is somebody wanted, but so then. Two,
correct. The SAAC method.
we have number three, the five W's and one H.
We also have give me or first, then finally.
And lastly, we have the give me the gist. Okay. So all right.
Those
In as much
are,
as we would like, okay, to for us to shine better this Tuesday, okay, we'll just be giving this AF moment to shine. I think next meeting next Tuesday at 4 p.m.
yes, because you don't have enough time. And everyone,
Yeah.
well, still, in the first part, everyone actually shown in our activities and they all participated. So why don't we give them a virtual round of applause? Thank you very much.
At
And
least
why don't we,
we're done, okay, with the discussion
yes,
part. And next meeting, ready for a new challenge because we'll be challenging you or we'll be testing your learning about the techniques in summarizing.
that is true. And why do we give yourselves heart? And how was it? How was the experience of having us today, your AF buddies? We would like to hear your thoughts or feedback on how we can improve your experience.
Yeah, and for this month, since it is March 1, the first day of the month of March, we are also celebrating, or the DepEd Itulay supports the National Women's Month celebration from March 1 to 31, 2022 with the theme, Tutor Iron,
Yes, with the theme, we make change work for women, the National Women's Month celebration.
agenda ng kababaihan tungo sa kaunlaran. So, an important we have to remember that what do we call it? We are about summarizing its importance, right, Tutor Aaron? So it is of great, okay, importance for students, for you, our dear AF Phenomenal students, to prosper in your careers as it improves your vocabulary and grammatical skills. Your microphone is muted, Tutor Aaron.
Sorry, I'm just excited for it
Yeah.
because students who can adequately summarize a long text are good at focusing and extracting the main ideas. Do you agree? This is why summarizing is important for you, our dear students.
All right, and that's it for today. Thank you for your participation, AF Phenomenal students. This has been Tutor Alvin.
And I am Tutor Aaron, and we are your AUP buddies.